Hello, let's create the UI screens and wire up all the background tasks that allow users to manage their to-dos. On the main to-do screen, users can view and manage all their existing to-dos. I like to separate these into two composables, a root screen and the content screen. The root screen is where we inject the view model, which let us call its functions. The content screen is much simpler. It just takes a list of to-dos and exposes on-click functions. This separation also makes it easier to add a preview for a content composable, which is really helpful during UI development. To position the floating action button, one of the easiest approach is to wrap the content in a scaffold. The scaffold takes care of positioning element like the floating action button automatically. For displaying the list, I use lazy column and make it each item look better. I wrap it up an elevated card. On the to-do creation screen, I use launched effect block to collect events from the view model. One of those events is in a navigation request. When that happens, we call the navigate up function to return the previous screen. The remaining screen follow a similar structure, nothing too fancy or complex. The description screen is a bit trickier. Initially, the to-do object is null, so in the viewModels init block we fetch the to-do item from the database using the provided ID. On the content screen, instead of using the unsafe double bank operator, we wrap the data in a Kotlin let block. This is a best practice for safely handling nullable values. If the ID doesn't correspond to a real entity, the app won't crash. Instead, it gracefully handles the null case, which result is a much better user experience. For simplicity, in this example, I just show an infinite progress indicator while loading. Finally, let's bring it all together with a main navigation setup. The latest version of Jetpack navigation allows us to use objects instead of strings of navigation routes. This helps reduce typos and improves code reliability. We define a nav host and build the navigation graph inside it. All the on-click listeners are implemented here and passed down to the screens. A good practice to keep it the nav controller at the navigation level and not tightly couple it with the individual screens. This makes the screens more usable and easier to test. Now let's run the app and see what we built. Thanks for watching. If you found this series helpful, please consider giving it a like. Bye.